to welcome you all to the call today. At ConnectSMART, we find that many of our customers deal with similar challenges on a daily basis. We felt that one of the best ways to help clients overcome these problems, which we call our top 5 fails, is to have one of our key customers share his real-life experiences and how ConnectSMART helps his team overcome these issues with our dashboard solutions. For the presentation today, we'll start with introductions, go into the top 5 fails with examples from Charlie, and open it up to Q&A. Please use the question or chat function in GoToWebinar to ask your questions. First, a little bit about our main speaker, Charlie Usherwood. Charlie has been in the IT business for the past 30+ years, starting with his family business, Usherwood Office Technology. The company's been in business since 1976 and is a leading regional provider of IT solutions throughout upstate New York. Over the past several decades, Usherwood has grown to 110 employees in 8 offices serving over 7,000 clients. Charlie himself also worked for several years for one of the original MSP companies in the world, EDS. He was able to bring that experience back into the family business in 1999 and has been with Usherwood ever since. For the past 18 years, our second presenter, Dan Martin, has served in various capacities at Connections for Business, a leading MSP serving South Florida. Recently, he was vice president of the company, and the company, much like Usherwood, was founded in 1977. Dan is currently president of ConnectSMART and leverages firsthand all the MSP experience he gained to ensure that the product roadmap always delivers real-time visibility to service providers around the globe. He is a trusted advisor to the industry and has spoken at numerous IT conferences nationwide. So getting right into it, let's talk about these common IT service provider fails or pitfalls. And many of these may sound familiar to people on our call today. 1, I can't focus on the specific metrics that gauge my business. 2, I can't easily access critical data. 3, I can't gauge my business in real time. 4, I can't easily take action when issues arise. And 5, employee workflow is disconnected from the rest of the company. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to Charlie. Charlie, why don't you start with how you found ConnectSMART and what you were wanting to accomplish in terms of the #1 issue with metrics?
Hi, Kat, and thank you very much for that very gracious introduction. We, like many MSPs, went to a trade show, saw ConnectSMART, thought it was really, really great looking, and decided to purchase the product. During that time, we saw additional MSPs that were using it, and we were very excited to get moving with it. And this is kind of where our story starts today, on how we kind of fumbled with the product in the beginning and managed to find a way to make it work for us as time went by.
Great. Let's go to the second one. #2, I can't easily access critical data.
And I assume, Kat, at this point, you'd like me to kind of talk about the critical data situation. And one of the challenges we had was, when we first started this story, is we put up all the data that kind of came with the product, not really understanding what that data meant, not really understanding how that related to our business. And we used it for a while like that and still didn't really accomplish our goals. And so we were a bit frustrated. And it wasn't a fault of ConnectSMART. It was a fault that the business wasn't driving our needs. And we were just trying to use a tool to just drive the business, when in fact we needed to change our behavior. So we started to look at the data more closely and started to understand the data. And that's when things started to really change for us.
Okay, #3, very common. One of the most important fails. I can't gauge my business in real time. Help us understand why real-time data is so important to a company like Usherwood.
Well, for us, the real-time data is probably the only thing that's important to me right now, and maybe that's just where we're at. To look at data very quickly was important, but but we were kind of putting the cart ahead of the horse by saying that. What really kind of came out of it was my brother and I were discussing some of our challenges. And out of frustration, we realized that our customers weren't being taken care of. And we kind of looked at ConnectSMART differently. Once we started to have this conversation, we want our customers, 90% of all tickets coming into our customer service desk, we want those tickets being taken care of within 30 minutes. And once we started to say that was our big, massive, hairy goal, that's when things started to change for us, and using ConnectSMART now became a more relevant conversation. And that's what turns into being what it was all about.
I'm sure a lot of our listeners can identify with that. And yeah, the big audacious goal there, it sounds simple or maybe easy to people outside of the industry, but I think that anybody running an MSP can understand this is actually a huge goal to get that kind of response time. And you had shared with me some of the metrics you've read and the research you've read on the cost of a customer, losing a customer. Can you touch a little bit on that for us?
Well, assuming, again, that the audience is filled with a lot of managed service providers, we're all kind of talking to very similar companies, maybe True Methods, maybe Service Leadership, or some of the other great consultants that are out there. And we're all trying to drive our monthly recurring revenue to a higher number. And for us, when we started in the business, when we were struggling and we weren't as mature as we are today, maybe we're only getting $500 or $600 a month, and as time's gone by, we're moving that number up into the $2,000 and $2,500 a month. So we like to look at it as, if we're doing our business right, we should always be at the $2,500 to $3,000 range. And so I'm kind of looking at that as my number to say that if I'm not doing the right job, I'm going to be losing $2,500 to $3,000 a month per customer if we're not attacking the problems that they have, because ultimately that's what these numbers are going to provide me, is a method to make sure that we're taking care of that customer in a very quick and efficient way. So it's always hard to put a number, Kat, as you know, on how much loss you could have, but this is sort of the way we're looking at it.
Yeah, and nobody likes to fire tech, so you want those renewals, and you want healthy bottom line with renewing clients that are happy. It all ties together with seeing the data and managing your business. That's great. Absolutely. Let's take a look at one of your sample dashboards here. I think that you have a very unique dashboard due to some of the integrations that you've created with ConnectSMART. Tell us about that.
Well, in this particular dashboard, this is if you're looking at that screen today, you're seeing that we have quite a bit of information on it, and if this was a small monitor, it would be very difficult to see. This is not a small monitor. This is a very large 9-monitor TV wall that sits in our operations center, and we have our TAC members watching this screen at all times, looking for changes, looking for issues to come up. And of course, most of this is the ConnectSMART module doing all this for us. There's one screen that's not, but you can see how the ConnectSMART environment can really really hone you in on issues that come up. And again, this is a big wall. Each monitor, I think, is 46 or 48 inches times 3. And then 3 down, so you kind of get an idea how massive this really is.
Yeah, and it's modular, so you have this at your home office too, right?
That is correct. In addition to that, we're doing some screen capturing to send it out to my managers because they're on the road a bit. So every hour, a screen capture of this is being sent out to our technicians, or not our technicians, our managers, so they can manage when they're in the field as well as sitting in an office. So we really do have to have mobility with all this, which we've created through the ConnectSMART process. The map is all my technicians' movements around the state. So every one of those little circles is a vehicle, and in the vehicle is actually where they're located at this moment. And so it's really interesting to be able to know where our staff is. And there's a security aspect to that we like. In addition, a lot of people get into the big brother business, and we'll talk about that in probably a couple other slides. But really, I like to tell my techs, because they do get nervous, but if you're not calling in, we need to know where you are. And it's definitely a a high-risk business driving around the state of New York. And it's certainly, in the wintertime in some of these snow countries, it can be a dangerous spot too, and we do want to protect our people.
That's great. And I definitely, for our customers that might be on, they're seeing some familiar gadgets. You know, the tickets open is probably the most, you know, the open ticket one is one of the key things with ConnectSMART, but you've got a lot of data here, and it's very well organized.
We're a copier dealer as well as a managed service provider, and we have tapped into additional systems other than just what most folks are using, either LabTech, Kaseya, ConnectWise, that sort of thing. We've extended it even further. We've extended into our eAutomate database as well as Microsoft Link, the telephone system. My offices are all part of the Microsoft Link, so that number represents every office phone call coming into our database. So some additional information I think folks might find interesting.
Let's leave on the dashboard. Dan, anything you want to add about this? You've seen a ton of customer dashboards. Anything stick out for you on this particular one?
Yeah. Yes, thank you, Kat. I think one of the important things, as well, just from a design standpoint, is what Charlie mentioned there on this being 9 separate monitors. We put it all together in one view so you can see it here. But one of the things that he's done very well is on each one of those monitors is you're not having too much information. And that's one of the things that Charlie talked to earlier that we've seen. You know, ConnectWise or LabTech or some of these different you know, dashboards that we ship out that are available for you to drop in. There may be 160 or 200 different gadget elements. And I think that you know, that's a key element that Charlie and the rest of Usherwood realized is, you know, really figuring out what the problem is and then figuring out what is the metric that's going to fix that problem. So you're really managing by the numbers, not the numbers managing you. And that's something that Charlie has done really, really well. And if you dig into each of these different metrics that he's got up on the system, you'll see that whole philosophy.
Number 4, I can't take action when issues arise.
You know, so much of ConnectSMART and kind of things that we've learned and things that our customers have learned are typically born out of frustration, right? We didn't buy a product because we wanted something pretty on the wall. We built a product for ourselves initially, and Charlie bought a product because he had a problem that he needed to fix. And so, you know, in that same way, you know, the immediate action is one of the just super critical things for me. And I like to tell people, it's, you know, how many times have we, you know, been in a situation, if you're in that MSP, you're sitting in the help desk and the phone rings, you see it's you know, Usherwood Office Technology calling, you pick up the phone and, hey Charlie, how's it going? Good to talk to you, it's been a long time. You know, hey, what's happening? Charlie's on the other end of the, you know, waiting for me to shut up and say, hey, my system's down, what's going on? And I look and it's like, oh, well, look, hold on a second. Let me take a look and let me log into LabTech, or let me take a look in Kaseya or whatever my monitoring tool is. You know, maybe a couple minutes later, it's, oh yeah, I see a ticket. Yeah, we've got an issue that happened here. Let me get somebody on that right away. And that's our, you know, those are the conversations that engineers don't like to be in. Then the phone's ringing and I pick it up and it's like, hey Charlie, I'm glad you called. I was just about to give you a shout. Looks like we were seeing something going on at your office. Is everything okay, or is that what you're calling about? Charlie says, hey, yeah, we're down. We've got this project. Great. Okay, just want to let you know we've already got it taken care of. Already have somebody on it. Thanks for saving me the phone call. And we completely changed the interaction between both the customer and the, you know, the mental capacity, the mental state of the engineer who's taking the phone call. We've allowed them to be proactive, because our customers have a tendency to even if our salespeople didn't say it, they have this thought of, we've got these tools, we have all this proactive work, and we're going to know about a problem before they do. And it really, because of that immediate activity, allows us to give that illusion, really, that we do know about it before them. We can really be proactive, so we're not, you know, caught blindsided when we get that phone call.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. This product is born out of frustration, really.
It appears that way, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's those little things. It's funny. As we go through a lot of what the original gadgets and things when we started, 7 or 8 years ago when we first introduced ConnectSMART to the market, I could tell you a story about every single one of those gadgets. And, every single one is a favorite of, this was a problem that we had that, this was from a customer screaming at us, or this was from, a problem that we had here, this was from another problem. And that really is kind of the whole idea of what we're doing in this managing by exception. Which
I'd like to tell you it was unique to my company, but it's not. It was at my last job at EDS. It was in the company at Usherwoods before, and it continues to grow. And like we talked about before, the company has to get ahead of the employees and start sending the right message. That these numbers aren't to get them fired. These numbers to help them move forward. And if they can't reach their number, there must be a real reason.
Yeah, that's really true. I couldn't agree more with you on that one, Charlie. How many times we've seen ConnectSMART torpedoed in one sense because of that fear. Somebody like yours at a show says, "Oh, I need this. This will be great. I can keep an eye on all my people and make sure they're doing their work." And then they give it to their engineer and say, "Hey, I need you to get this up and running." And all of a sudden, there seems to be all kinds of issues because people don't really like that big brother, and they kind of feel like they're installing a jail cell for themselves. And I think that's a really key thing, and it's really I love seeing the different examples of what it is being used for, because it's not about monitoring your people and keeping track of them, although that's a side benefit. You do have an accountability aspect of
Right.
things that have to get done, but at the same time we focus, our number one focus really is into improving their workflow. And so different business rules of how we would need to make sure that we're working on the right ticket or prosecuting the things the right way. And I can put it into a document that says make sure you do A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, follow our 15-step support process, or I can give them a gadget. We call it PDB, is push the damn button. If you can double click on the button, it's going to take all the work out of getting lost in the tools, because I hire an engineer to be an engineer, not to figure out how to use ConnectWise or to learn all the different nuances of lab tech or to work and understand tools. Although some people have to do that, I'm hiring people who are going to be communicating with my customers and being able to provide excellent customer service. So I want to remove every one of those difficulties from them, make it as easy as possible, and just provide them with the tools to where they can do it very simply and leverage their expertise in providing customer support, customer service. It's not a management tool. It's a communication tool that we use throughout the entire company with every one of our team members.
That's great. And then speaking of what is ConnectSMART, I know some folks generally know what it is, but maybe, people can read the slide. Why was this created? How did ConnectSMART come about?
Well, as we kind of talked about, some of it coming out of frustration, and I like to say it's because I'm lazy. But when we first bought into the whole idea of an MSP business about 12 years ago or so, we started working in this. We've been an IT provider forever. Started into the MSP business. We actually bought ConnectWise, Kaseya, and Enable. I think there was one other thing. We bought 4 products all in the same month, and said, okay, now we bought all the tools. Now we're an MSP, and we realized that was not actually the case. We started to build for ourselves to make available for our internal and our friends and different people in the industry that we worked with were asking for us to do it for them as well. And since we had a development shop, we split that out as a separate product, and really building that the dashboards initially. As I mentioned, we came out of that necessity for dashboards and access to the information, and going to not just the executives, not just the managers and the technicians, but then taking it the next step of really adding any kind of data into it to really have a complete system for dashboards. And then we added in the reporting functionality as well, so that whether it's the CEO who needs to look at a quarterly report, manager who's looking at his weekly numbers, and so it's really we're providing a accountability for ourselves to our customers, and that's also been really popular. So it's really that whole the complete cycle of having the dashboards and the reporting, all the data pulled together is what's really made ConnectSMART what it is.
That's great. Okay, next slide. So before I conclude and go to Q&A, I wanted to give Charlie one more chance to talk about the general value of automating these things to scale his business. Obviously, his business is doing very well as it is, but you have very ambitious growth plans to double in,
Absolutely.
I don't know, so just share a little
Anywhere between now and 5 years, Kat, I hope.
Yeah.
There's a 5-year mission, as my brother and I put together a very strategic doubling our business, and it's important to us as we've got a large footprint to continue to fill in the territory, and we just don't believe we can do it without a tool like this. And to do that, we needed to be able to hone that data and look at the problems that we have that are unique to our business. Everybody's problems are going to be unique to their business based on their culture, their business experience, and all those other great things. And so for us, it was very, very important that we are able to hone our problems and get that information quickly. So when we do have these issues coming up, we're able to fix. We dabbled with the ConnectSMART product for a while, and frankly, it was just eye candy, and it was great for sales. They go in and see all these great-looking graphs on the screen and say, that is the coolest thing. It had zero meaning.
Yep.
Zero meaning. But it looked great. And so it did sell a lot of product.
Sure.
But that didn't really help us fix our problems with keeping and retaining customers. So now we've changed it around. The data has meaning. When something goes wrong, there's an action plan behind it, and there's a series of tickets that are created to solve the initial problem. So that gives you an idea that you better have an action plan after you put these in, and you better know why you're doing it. And if you do those things, I believe that that's where your success will come in.
So thank you, gentlemen, for an excellent presentation today. And in particular, I'd really like to express our thanks to Charlie for taking the time to share about the solution and how it helps Usherwood overcome some of these common challenges. And, automation in the business is helping him be more successful. So at this point, I'd like to open it up to Q&A. This one is, what third-party software integrations is the company looking to add in the future? Now, with a caveat saying that you're not making any promises.
That's actually funny. We have a very aggressive, one of the reasons, we put about 2 years of development into the data warehouse, and the reason was we developed the API and the integration framework first. So we have a very aggressive schedule of what we're looking at integrating with. We have a new integration that's just like a generic integration, which will allow you to integrate the data warehouse to any SQL-based product. That's coming out in the next 2 months. We also have QuickBooks and Great Plains on the list. And we have we actually have a list of about 15 that are going to be looking at this year, and those are as far as the public ones. We also have the ability to do any integration that, pretty well if somebody's interested, if there's an API to it, the integrations can be done very, very quickly.
Excellent. Okay, this one's kind of comical. Is either ConnectSMART or Usherwood hiring?
Yes, we are. We are always hiring. Actually, we had 3 new people started today. So.
Oh.
Yeah,
Charlie,
we're hiring. We are hiring. We always are. It seems like.
I'm in South Florida.
Technically, so am I.
I know.
But we only hire for upstate New York, I'm afraid. Everything north of New York City. So certainly reach out to me. I'm charlie@usherwood.com. Really complicated email. By any means, anybody looking to talk, I'm more than happy.
Absolutely. And I think my email's on there as well, the dmartin@connectsmart.com.
That's great. And thank you, gentlemen. Excellent presentation. And a recording will be made available if there were no technical difficulties. Everyone will receive a copy of this presentation. And I want to thank you all again and have a great day.
One thing to note, the phone number there is actually 954 is the area code.
Yes, exactly. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye now.